Hey Soufyan,
Hey Asif, how are you?
good, I am good. So I do this webinar, or you can call it a short conversation with people I interact with a lot on LinkedIn, especially people who are experts in their field. So I know we have been following each other for I think more than 6 months now, and commenting on each other's posts and sharing opinions on FP&A, sharing opinions on PowerPoint and other finance related topics. So I think this will be a good conversation to have. Yeah, I think if it will be good if you can give a little bit of background about yourself in terms of how you started.
Indeed, after my studies, I directly started at PwC because I don't know if it's the case in every country in the world, but big four companies, PwC, Deloitte, and EY, they come to every economic and finance school in Belgium to get as much people as possible to start their career in audit. And I went to the recruitment day of all the companies, but I started at PwC, maybe to be a bit rebel because all my friends from school went to EY, Deloitte, KPMG. So at PwC, I knew I wouldn't have to bring back the picture I had at school, so I could be a new me. And it worked well, actually. I learned a lot there. There was first fun because that was another school. You have a lot of people the same age, with the same background, the same career development, and so it's a bit like an army with every levels. So that was kind of fun. The trainings were also fun, but most of it I got out of there with a lot of learnings because there I understood how to analyze a full P&L, to have the big picture of a company from the figures and not directly in the accounting. Because let's be honest, what we learn in school today is pretty theoretical, and when you apply it directly to the real world, well, it doesn't work as easy as it seems. You go there, the trial balance doesn't reconcile, so you have to work on that. And then when you analyze the figures, you notice that sometimes there are mistakes. And when there are mistakes, you have to go and see the client, which is not always happy to see you when you are an auditor. So you also have to improve your human skills and bring your A game in order to make it work. And those are basically the things I learned as an auditor. But after 4 years, I just had to question myself: is it really what I want to do? And the answer was clearly no. So I wanted to be more involved in the company and work inside the company, not as an external anymore, but touch a bit of everything. I wanted to touch SAP. I wanted to touch the BIs that they were in the companies. I wanted to be able to understand really the way the company works with finance and not just give the figures to an external auditor. And so this is why I moved to Deloitte because they have a service, and I guess it exists in every country, of interim management. So you actually was working in a company, but you were an employee of Deloitte. So those were for assignments of 6 months, 1 year, sometimes 2 years. And this is really where I learned the world of finance, more especially the world of FP&A. But I was also happy to have learned a lot more there. I worked in accounts payable, accounts receivable. I worked as a treasury officer. So those were things I haven't had seen as an auditor, and at least it gave me a global picture of how finance works in different companies. I don't have the count anymore, but I think that I worked in something like 10 to 15 companies in my 5 years there. And it was really fun. I worked in the leisure industry. I worked in a production company. I worked mostly in services. And so there, not only could I learn the technical skills that I needed, I learned a lot because we had a big training program for us, but also I could see what it meant to be working in FP&A for the different industries and the different clients. And that was also fun. That was not like school in audit, because there you were more autonomous. You had to go to your client, and you were actually the representative of Deloitte. And I evolved there a lot. I was manager. I had a team of counselees. So I developed also my management skills there. But after 5 years, something outside work changed a bit. I got my first kid, and the problem with the interim management is that, yeah, sometimes I could work in Brussels, but most of the time I was dispatched to regions a bit far away from home, and I didn't really want to be that far from my just born child. So I decided to settle and to work in a company. The other reason was also that I was working to work more on the longer term, because when you are an interim manager, you can have some frustrations because let's say you participate to a budget, you won't even be able to see whether this budget was correct because the year after you're not there anymore. And I needed to be able to also have this longer term view in FP&A. And that's why I moved to Proximus, which is actually a telco operator in Belgium, the first one. And there I worked a bit, something like 6 years, in the case today. And there I moved. The first step was to work as a finance business partner for the B2B mobile business. So actually your mobile phone, but paid by your employer. And this is really where I learned how to work as a finance business partner, because they were really demanding an implication of the finance business partner for the business. That was not only in terms of forecast or results, but also for the business cases, the analysis. We were really working hand in hand with my business partners, actually, which were the responsible of the B2B mobile section in Proximus. And that was really where I learned a lot. And after 4 years, I decided that if I wanted to increase my potential inside the company, I had to learn a lot of things. And one of these things was how I communicated with my business partners, but also with an audience. And this is why I decided to take an intensive training program, which was called the Pro program in Proximus. This is actually where I learned how to communicate, how to better present. I actually had to present a TED-alike talk in front of an audience of 100 persons at Proximus. And this is where I realized the power of a presentation to deliver your message and to make people understand, thanks to storytelling, thanks to visualization. Although at that time, visualization were only limited to some pictures, some text maximum. And also the fact that you could influence thanks to how you put people to think, you inspire them thanks to how you organize your talk. And after 2 years, I decided that I wanted to implement this learning, which was not really directed to finance people, to finance department. And so this is where I moved to another business unit, which was still in finance, but then I moved to the B2C department and worked as a finance manager for strategic projects, because I thought that at the time that was the best place to make those skills valuable. And I was responsible for the longer term planning. So everything that was related to the strategic planning, 5-year plan, 3-year plan, everything that was relating to merger and acquisitions, new projects, strategic projects. And so there, I was really responsible for the whole business unit to develop those presentations and to develop those plans. So I really improved a lot there, and I could make it work. The feedbacks were great, and the feedbacks were so great that I decided to make it a sort of business myself. And this is why today I post a lot, and I want to make to create a training on how finance people, finance professionals can better present their work. And I say work because I don't want them to present only the figures. I want them to present what's behind the figures, what's the analysis, what's the message, what's the consequence, what's the after. And this is why I started there. And this is why today I can give you the exclusivity to tell you that I'm leaving Proximus to start my own company, which will be split into two. The first one is to come back to my first love as interim manager. My kids are bigger now, so I can travel a bit more. And I do it as a freelance finance business partner for Belgium in the first place, but now with full remote possibilities, I'm not sure that I will limit myself to Belgium. So this is what will make me leave, actually, because the training program takes a bit of time. You have to reflect how you will organize it. You have to reflect the form that people are happy about it. So this won't be for right now, but I'm continuing it because I really enjoy and these last 6 months, and I can't wait to see the other months. So that's a bit my journey so far, and why we are meeting today.
Yes, I can relate to it because I have had a similar journey. At least the first half of I started in audit, and I had a very similar thought process while moving from audit into industry. You worked with a telecommunication company. I worked for a bank for 5 years, and then moved into a different industry. So I think our journey is very similar. Just that I started with EY, you started with PwC, you worked with Proximus, I worked with Citibank. So yes, I can absolutely relate. Please do like this video and let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. If you are looking to start your career into FP&A, then be sure to subscribe this channel and keep tuning in for more videos like these.